As two ancient civilizations, China and Iran have enjoyed friendly ties and economic partnerships spanning over 2,000 years. In recent years, this relationship has gained geostrategic significance amid tensions between Iran and the West over sanctions related to Iran's nuclear program. China has emerged as a key trade partner able to assist Iran in circumventing Western sanctions and furthering its infrastructure goals. With China also facing a trade dispute with the United States, joint mega-projects allow both countries to demonstrate global independence in pursuit of domestic energy and economic objectives. Phase 11 of South Pars gas field. Spanning 3,700 square miles in the Persian Gulf, South Pars is the world's largest gas field with an estimated 14.2 trillion cubic meters of natural gas reserves and 18 billion barrels of gas condensates. As Iran's most strategic natural resource asset, South Pars drives the country's gas production and exports. Development of the field is divided into 24 standard phases, each allocated to either Iranian or international oil companies. Back in 2017, the China National Petroleum Corporation (CNPC) took over the development of Phase 11 after France's Total withdrew from the $5 billion project due to the impending US sanctions. CNPC's current 80% stake and ownership elevates China to the role of lead developer. Controlling Phase 11 enables China to set the timeline and direct all critical technical aspects like drilling wells, installing pipelines, building processing facilities, and managing output levels. With development costs projected to exceed $3 billion, most Western majors have found involvement too financially risky and logistically complicated. However, for China, the rewards outweigh short-term obstacles. Investing in South Pars aligns with China's global energy strategy of securing oil and gas assets to satisfy rising domestic consumption. Phase 11 specifically enhances China's national interests in key ways: steadier Iranian LNG imports at preferential prices, increased oil imports bundled with Phase 11 development contracts, building influence in the geopolitically important Middle East. All oil field investments carry risk factors, but China views Phase 11 as strategically important to limit over-reliance on maritime routes like the Strait of Malacca for its energy needs. Control over such a sizable gas reserve also boosts China's bargaining position with other gas exporters in the long run. Yadavaran oil field. Located near the Iraqi border under the Khuzestan province, the Yadavaran oil field contains over 17 billion barrels of oil alongside 2 billion barrels of natural gas liquids, according to surveys. This massive reserve makes Yadavaran Iran's second-largest oil field based on recoverable reserves after Azerbaijan. As one of Iran's biggest untapped resources, Yadavaran is key to Iran reversing declines in oil production and exports resulting from decades of sanctions inhibiting field investments. China's Sinopec signed a major $2 billion contract in 2007 to develop the Yadavaran oil field amid improving bilateral relations at the time. Per the unique contract terms, the China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation Sinopec received unprecedented preferential treatment, including discounted Iranian oil exports. This allowed Sinopec to recoup capital outlays faster while propping up refining and petrochemical operations back home. In exchange for fronting production costs, Sinopec secured long-term access to Yadavaran's resources. When expanded US sanctions under the Trump administration pushed Western majors like Total and Eni out of Iran, Sinopec remained entrenched in Yadavaran, operating as normal with the Iranian government's blessing. China clearly has more financial and technological muscle to withstand geopolitical risks compared to most countries. Major oil field development projects in Iran also suit Sinopec, given its expertise in tricky fields. Joining up with Iran benefits the Chinese economy via a new stream of discounted Iranian oil imports, capturing value from untapped immense oil and gas reserves, increased Middle East influence, and soft power. Jask Oil Export Terminal. As Iran's newest oil export terminal located outside the Strait of Hormuz, Jask represents a geopolitical coup allowing Iran to sidestep the contentious passageway. Situated near newly built storage tanks, the terminal overlooks the Gulf of Oman, facilitating direct tanker access without entering the Persian Gulf. Given Jask's strategic positioning, China has backed terminal construction as part of expanding trade and oil supply agreements. Chinese investment in Jask helps secure Beijing's broader energy interests. It provides safer passage for Chinese tankers receiving Iranian oil imports. It reduces disruptions even if tensions spike around the Strait of Hormuz. It solidifies China's status as Iran's top oil customer. It cements China's influence over Iranian logistics infrastructure. Jask also benefits Iran immensely at a time of mounting pressure from Western sanctions. The terminals enable unconstrained oil exports to Asia without relying on access to the Strait Strait, which Iran threatens to blockade. This guarantees national revenue from oil sales while letting Iran wield its geography for political leverage. With capacity eventually projected to reach 1 million barrels per day, Jask gives both Tehran and Beijing latitude in a precarious geopolitical climate. Their strengthened energy infrastructure partnership also serves notice that isolating either nation can prove exceedingly difficult. High-speed railways. As components of China's expansive Belt and Road infrastructure vision, high-speed railways across Iran unlock faster overland routes into Europe while stimulating local economies. Over the last 20 years, Chinese railway construction companies have upgraded large stretches of antiquated Iranian rail networks left over from the Shah era while espousing regional connectivity. One prominent undertaking is standardizing and electrifying the Tehran to Mashhad line to facilitate train speeds over 200 miles per hour. Once the nearby Kasvan to Rash line achieves similar upgrades, goods from China can reach the Caspian seaport in Iran before transiting to Europe, shaving previous transport times substantially. Domestically, new railways narrow gaps between Iran's major urban centers. The Tabriz to Tehran service offers more comfortable and reliable trains, getting passengers to the capital in 5.5 hours as ridership continually sets records. Rail investments thus build Iran's economic capacity while functioning as oil diplomacy, allowing China to secure preferential trade relations. High-speed rail collaboration seems poised to only accelerate into the future. China finances projects extending $10 billion in credit lines, development assistance mixed strategically with oil asset acquisitions. Iranian rail networks increasingly integrate into China's Eurasian vision. The airport project. As a major gateway bringing 30 million annual passengers in and out of Iran, Tehran's Imam Khomeini International Airport (IKA) is set for major expansion under a $2.7 billion deal with a Chinese construction firm. This mega project stands to elevate IKA into a regional aviation hub, bridging key global routes between China and Europe. Spanning 410,000 hectares with an ultra-modern glass terminal, the development constitutes Phase 2 of IKA, located 25 kilometers outside Iran's capital. Once the new facilities come online by 2026, the airport aims to serve 50 million annual passengers, rivaling major Middle Eastern transit hubs like Doha and Dubai. China's involvement in constructing Phase 2 reflects growing aviation ties between both countries and China's rising infrastructure footprint in Iran more broadly. Chinese contractors have proven adept at navigating sanctions that are still hamstringing investment by Western firms since the US withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal. Barter financing. Given US secondary sanctions targeting dollar transactions within Iran, Chinese companies accept alternative financing mechanisms Tehran utilizes to bankroll projects. The unnamed contractor will receive crude oil supplies from Iran over a multi-year schedule to offset costs instead of direct payments. Iran first piloted oil for investment schemes while under international sanctions from 2012 to 2016. China signed on to various joint infrastructure initiatives like subways, dams, and railways back then, using oil as financing. Beijing continues accepting Iranian crude as repayment even with Western sanctions applying again. Trade experts forecast the new airport agreement could involve supplying around 300,000 barrels per day of Iranian oil locked in for at least 5 years. With China importing over 500,000 barrels of oil daily from Iran already, guaranteed future oil as project funding poses no barriers for Chinese entities. Strategic alignment. Major infrastructure drives between Iran and China generate clear advantages for both sides culturally and economically while building political goodwill. For Iran's civil aviation sector, Phase 2 finally actualizes aspirations of transforming Tehran into a globally competitive air transit hub after years of stalled growth. Chinese assistance with such a landmark national project wins loyalty from Iranian leaders when it comes to Beijing's regional interests. For China, backing initiatives like IKA's expansion helps open new corridors west connecting China to destinations like Turkey or Eastern Europe. Chinese construction expertise also secures contracts for its firms amid rising international competition around Belt and Road projects. Ultimately, collaborating on mega airports signifies momentum behind a multidimensional China-Iran relationship that deliberately undermines American sanctions. By trading key commodities and technology outside dollar-based systems, China and Iran reveal pathways for other countries to reorient around alternative financial architectures independent of US domination. China and Iran reveal through their mega-project partnerships just how resilient ties between two ancient civilizations can prove. Major collaborations spanning Iran's largest gas field, strategic oil reserves, and transit networks demonstrate remarkable alignment. Such deep cooperation ascends infrastructure capable of withstanding political headwinds from Western sanctions to turmoil in the Strait of Hormuz. As China charts its global ascendance while Iran seeks to unleash its economic potential, this durable bilateral relationship takes on pronounced significance. Their energy infrastructure and transport collaborations redirect flows of resources, trade, and finance across Eurasia based chiefly on mutual benefit, not external diktats. If you gained insight into how China-Iran mega-projects shape geopolitical realities, remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Please share your perspective on how countries like Iran circumvent sanctions and tell us which aspects of the China-Iran nexus intrigue you.